I've been taking the last 4 days away from a lot of my distractions, certainly social media being one of them. What I've been blessed to find out, though, is that I haven't been as off kilter as much as I thought I was. It was interesting for me to really start reflecting and understanding through prayer that my spiritual struggles with closeness to God and my physical struggles with, taking care of my body, all were triggered from the flesh, and my emotional struggles with feeling overwhelmed, feeling like I was behind, feeling like I had to catch up. And it's those emotions that really threw off the rest of it. And again, ironically, I take some time off work, and it's it's not. It didn't take me much to get back on track, which just goes to show us, I think, sometimes we're just overwhelmed by the noise that we think incorrectly. I thought it would be interesting to give myself, as any company does when they're measuring the health of their business, metrics. We have a corporate metrics, right? I know how to judge the success, the financial stability, how the company is doing. And these metrics come in many forms. For me, if I had to divide myself into spiritual, emotional, and physical metrics, I think I have actually pretty clear metrics, which is interesting to me. But then again, our God is an amazing God of order, and I don't think that it's coincidence that He may place some of these in each one of us. For me, for instance, an easy spiritual metric is my journaling. I don't journal with pen and paper, as I've mentioned. I do it online, and because it's kind of my medium. And of course, I can't do it every single day. Oh, well, I could, but a couple times a week. If I'm not journaling a couple times a week, there's distractions, or something's getting me off track. So spiritually, journaling, for me, is a great metric to see, am I in the Word? How's my prayer life? What's my connection going? Am I trying to do things on my own? It's a good metric for me. Physically, running. It's what I do. It's what I like. If I'm not logging miles, it's pretty fair to assume that I'm not taking care of myself physically. And it doesn't take much. I think what got me off track a lot was the fact that I signed up for a half marathon that I'm not going to be competing in. And I'm very at peace with that. I'm not disappointed with that. I'm not frustrated with that. I think what I've realized is that I started to get behind, and there's no way I can properly train for this thing in a few weeks, and it doesn't matter. I like to run. I don't know, why why I got off track. I probably could have done the half had I properly trained, and I think it's possible. And I may do it again in the future, but, I like running. So what happened is I had these goals that were set so high, right? I have to run X amount of miles a week, and I have to do this in my long runs, and I was just overwhelmed. So it got to the point of, well, geez, my goals are so big, forget it. Instead of just getting out and running a few miles, which I love to do. So instead of focusing on a goal, I dump them all with running. So a physical metric for me, easily, running. Check my miles. I log those. Very easy to check. Emotionally, I would say I am an emotional eater. When it comes to my food and nutrition, that's usually a very easy metric for me. If I'm emotionally stable and I'm dealing with this well, obviously spiritually helps that, or controls that 100% pretty much, right? But, so I can see where the flesh starts to get hold of me with food. And for me, that's a pretty easy metric to look at. And I just thought it would be interesting for you to reflect on your own metrics. I think they're healthy, to think about. I would imagine that you probably each have some of your own. Like I said, for me, journaling kind of wraps that whole spiritual metric for me, right? Because if I'm journaling, I'm in the Word, I'm in prayer, I'm pondering, and I'm meditating, I'm thinking about these things. I'm applying them, or at least trying to apply them the best that I can, right? Physically, if I'm running, I'm running. I'm getting my miles in. I'm active. Emotionally, I'm focused on God, and my attitude is positive, and my emotions are in check. For me, I'm an emotional leader, so easy one to check for me for a metric. So I just thought it'd be interesting to share that, because I think I'm going to be coming back on line, if you will, a little bit, just because it's been a blessing to me to interface with some people. I mean, I don't think it's been as much of a distraction as I thought it was. It's been a little bit of an escape. When things aren't emotionally going well, it's very easy to grab my thumb and start scrolling on my phone and going into zombie land and, oh, what's going on? Amazing. So, but if I'm keeping track of my metrics, if you will, and not to check a box, I mean, just for health, right? Keep ourselves in balance, right? If I want to be on His path daily, I better look down at the ground every once in a while and make sure I'm on His path. So, it's been a blessing. It's been an absolute blessing. I'm encouraged to find out that I really wasn't as far off track as I thought I was. I'm thinking, oh man, I'm just like so much to catch up on, and I'm so... they talk about when people get lost in the woods. Often they're not that far off a road or a trail, right? And they get lost. I think that's a pretty good parallel to think with us as believers when we're on that path, His path, that sometimes we get off. And you know what? You go 100 yards in the woods, and guess what? You can't see the road. And you get scared, you get overwhelmed, you get confused. When really, it's not that far away. So, I just thought I'd share that. I pray that you are blessed with feeling His presence, and if you aren't, turn things off for a while. I thought I had to turn off all social media and everything else and turn this stuff off for like a year because I was so off track. You know what? No, the noise is not strong enough to penetrate God. And the minute you just calm that down for a little bit, and He's right there. So, I pray you're blessed with some time to reflect on that and pull away from some noise. Maybe even think about your own metrics. I know for me it's going to be healthy to think about those. God bless.